Hi everyone, so we're about to start the Kia EV5 Australian Media Drive Day experience on highways and cities south of Sydney. Let's see how it goes because the rain is pouring down pretty hard. We'll see how the front wheel drive and local tuning and handling perform in this weather. Off we go! In the Kia EV5 Long Range Air with Matt from The Right Car. You should subscribe to his channel, really awesome. But yeah, this is an interesting drive day experience because the EV5 is a front wheel drive on the base and model. The Earth and GT line are all-wheel drive. And on this car, it's doing pretty well. In the city, driving slowly through stop-start traffic, and now through the national park on more twisty roads. Look, it's not an EV6. That's going to handle better on these kind of roads. But it's doing pretty well. I think it's doing better than the Chinese SUV small versions that I've driven recently.
Here, Australia's drive and handling engineer Graham Gambold has done an awesome job as usual. The EV5 handles bumps and potholes with ease. One nice thing about the Kia EV5 and all Kias, to the best of my knowledge, is that the built-in sat-nav updates and Kia Connect updates are for the life of the car warranty, which is a nice 7-year long. Awesome. So the good thing about the EV5 is even in the base model, it has wired and wireless Android Auto as well as Apple Carplay. So that's really handy. Oops. Okay, so we're using Waze now with Android Auto. This is where we're going for lunch. If we have any mobile signal, which is why it's also handy to have built-in sat-nav in your car. Because there are lots of places in Australia without any mobile signal. So the EV5 handles really well in wet weather. I'm pleasantly surprised for a vehicle that weighs 2 tons in the case of the EV5 Air long range, which we're driving today. Yeah, it's a pretty safe experience, which is what you want for family driving. Yeah. Cool. The Kia EV5 has one of my favorite things about Hyundai and Kia electric cars, which is these paddles. And what these paddles do is change the Regen braking from level 0, 1, 2, 3 to full max I-pedal, 1-pedal driving. I'm a big fan of 1-pedal driving. Not everyone is. Some people feel car sick, but yeah, I find it really relaxing and feels a bit more like manual driving back in the day, changing gears to slow down and speed up again. So, been in the Kia EV5 for a couple hours now. First in the long range Air and now the standard range Air. This could be a pretty popular car for fleets, I reckon, because it's got the driver's seat, has massage function, electric adjustment, the range is decent, it's very comfortable, automatic driver aids are fine. If you find the beeps annoying, you can turn them off easily enough. There's plenty of space in the boot. So one nice thing with the EV5, just like all Kia and Hyundai electric cars actually, is vehicle to load. Usually the base models like this Air standard range have an internal socket either in the boot or just in the middle passenger back seat. You can get 3.6 kilowatts of load at 16 amps, which is quite good. It's a lot better than some of the Chinese brand EVs that can only do about 2.2 to 2.4 kilowatt load. Very handy. Run a fridge, charge your laptop while you're doing work on the field if you're a fleet staff member. All good. Initially, I thought this was going to be potentially a wireless charging mat, but it turns out, looking at the specifications, that's only included in the top spec EV5. So if it's important to you, you're not going to get that feature in the lower spec models. It's pretty disappointing that only the top line GT line model of the EV5 has a full 360-degree camera. I think that the time has passed for only reverse camera to be included in a car this expensive being okay, because the Chinese brands have set a precedent. They're including 360 cameras in cars as cheap as the GWM Aura, which is currently going for a bit over 30 grand. One thing that I dislike about the Kia EV5 is the location of its charge port. So it's on the front right-hand side of the vehicle. That's kind of inconvenient and not really standard. It's going to make it hard for people who don't have their own parking at home to use some public chargers like the 1,000+ street side chargers the New South Wales government is rolling around across Sydney and north of Sydney and south of Sydney. For those, you'll mostly have to parallel park, and getting a cable across the car to the right hand side means your charging flap will be open where passing traffic is happening. Yeah, not a fan of that, sorry. The next day I drove the Kia EV5 Earth all-wheel drive back to Sydney from Bowral by myself. It was a great experience. The car was very easy to drive and comfortable on the highway. Cruise control and automatic safety systems worked well without any phantom braking or any other issues. Yeah, it was a easy drive. So, what about the GT line though, you're saying? That's because we weren't able to drive it at the Australian EV5 launch. There was only a pre-production GT line available to look at from the outside. So what do I think overall of the new Kia EV5? I think the Air specification will be quite popular with fleets. The Air long range is the best value overall, and then the GT line is the best if you want extra features. Earth doesn't really add much in between. Now, zooming out though, how many will Kia sell? Originally they thought they would sell 10,000 a year, but then they wound that back to about 4,500 a year at the press conference I just attended. There is a lot of competition out there from a lot of new brands selling medium-sized electric SUVs. It will be really interesting to see which ones get mass market appeal and large sales numbers. It will be very competitive.